It's the Riot Podcast. This is the Monday, December 4th edition. Today, we have to announce here, we announced on the show, but also announced that our Riot Live Christmas party is coming up. You can join us for that. That'll be Thursday, December 14th, live on our Riot YouTube and Facebook pages. We're going to be doing elf-themed stuff. Isaiah will sing.
Will not sing.
It's the best way to spread Christmas cheer. And so we're definitely doing that. So make sure you join us, like and subscribe to the pages so you make sure you don't miss out. Now, today in the show, we talk about how Spotify Wrapped got a cheater, got caught with Spotify Wrapped.
We got him.
We got him. Uh-huh. We also debate whether the college football playoff committee got it right or not. And we had a story sent in from John talking about, it's a heartwarming story. Police officer saved a person's life, but he was on a date while he did it. And so we actually kind of try to put ourselves in the shoes of the date and what was going through her mind at that time.
We also talked about how much money you should be spending on a date and why the why the average person is spending a little bit too much for the Riot's budget. Self-checkouts come up again.
Yeah.
Because of new news that they might be out of here. And then we also had a little bit of a discussion about Jeep ducking.
The Jeep ducking will, I assure you, take a turn you're not expecting. That's the show for today. Enjoy, and we will catch you next time.
See you guys.
You won't hear a show like this anywhere else. And that's probably for the best. The Worst of the Riot, RadioU.
Got a big announcement coming up on the show. We'll get to that next. But first, I love when this happens. I love when the listener sends in a story. And not just sends in a story, but has a take on it. Or at least a starting point. John sent this in. And it's actually a very nice, heartwarming, touching story from Cincinnati. The Cincinnati Police Department is, they're giving some props to one of their officers, Coffee Agblique. Coffee was just honored, also awesome name, just honored with the Distinguished Service Award. Because back in October, while out on a date riding bikes across the Roebling Bridge, he came across somebody standing over the bridge's railing, probably contemplating ending things. And Officer Agblique went above and beyond to save this person's life. He spoke with the person, was able to talk them back away from the railing to safety, and other people were able to step in and help as well. So, a very positive story. You love seeing something like that. Somebody who almost about to do something that would be permanent and a permanent solution to a temporary problem, they always say, and, good citizens able to step in and help. Now, what John wanted to know is, there's an important detail back at the beginning of this, that this officer was on a date. What happened to the date?
He was not on the job.
Yeah, off the job, so even more
impressive.
You'd hope anybody,
notable.
Police officer or not, on the job or not, would step in and help in a scenario like this. But nevertheless, he was off the job. He wasn't on a date while working. But it's not covered in the story. What happened to the date?
Well, he was there for multiple hours, correct?
Yeah. Oh, you had to be.
I assume she probably went home.
But
she was there. Maybe she was there too.
Could you leave in a scenario like that?
Maybe she was just standing there the whole time.
Either way, hopefully, I guess the ideal scenario is that she was right there, that she's not getting the Distinguished Service Award. But I guess the idea would be that she also played a role in the saving of this person's life. But we don't know. Maybe she's, maybe a little less qualified, so she's not a police officer. So she was just kind of standing around. She was like, yeah, you go ahead. Help that guy.
Probably, yeah.
And then what? She's on a bike. She just ride her bike home, or?
No, she probably just drove home, I assume.
On the bike.
They were on a bike?
How do you? Yeah, they were riding bikes. That was the date. That was the date. Yeah.
Oh yeah, she probably just rode the bike back.
You think?
Or she just hung out there.
At what point? At what point could she feel free to cut loose on the day and just be like?
I don't know if she could.
I think you just save this guy, talk him down from the ledge. I think I'm gonna go. It doesn't seem like this is gonna you're busy, and so we'll catch up next time.
She probably stayed. If I had to guess, you have to think she stayed. But I mean, you also have to think.
I hope, but that would also be awkward for her.
You also have to think for this guy. I mean, wait a lot. I mean, there's no chance he doesn't get a second date. He just saved a man's life in the midst of a date.
Even if nothing else, just out of guilt, because how could you turn away a man like that?
I mean, I've done some pretty silly things on dates and gotten a second date. This guy saved somebody's life mid-date.
And credit to him again, police officer or not. You're on a date. Your mind might be focused on the date.
It probably
this guy had his priorities in line. He's like, no, hey, you're really cute, but more importantly, this man, he needs help.
Be a little jarring.
Yeah. So good for him. Congratulations all around. I hope the date also went well, and obviously the person over the ledge, most importantly, that they are doing okay.
She texts him. She's like, I don't think this is gonna work.
Yeah.
I feel like our date didn't really go as planned.
I just don't think that you focused on me enough.
You didn't really prioritize me.
Yeah.
The only thing Isaiah loves more than the riot is himself.
Someone who probably still lives with his mother and hates himself.
You're listening to The Riot on RadioU.
Now, over the weekend, of course, yesterday, we got the College Football Playoff Committee's rankings, the final rankings, which determine which teams have a shot at playing for the College Football Playoff Championship. And the rankings, if you haven't heard, were as follows. Michigan, number 1, makes sense. Washington, number 2, of course. Then you had Texas, so they'll face Washington. And Alabama, the 4th spot, they will face Michigan. Notably, Florida State left out at number 5, and Georgia, the committee had at number 6 after their loss to the SEC champion, Alabama. Isaiah, I want to hear your thoughts on this.
This is controversial. This is very controversial. A lot of people, obviously, Florida State 13-0, undefeated, Power 5 conference champion.
Uh-huh.
Got the win over Louisville this past weekend, but their starting quarterback injured. So the team, what the College Football Playoff Committee is saying, the team is not as strong as they were at the point that they went undefeated. Alabama getting the upset over the number 1 team, Georgia, over the weekend. They thought that was enough as an SEC champion to put them in over Florida State. I think a similar take that I saw over the weekend, there were so many people that were up in arms over this, defending it, against it, for it. But one of the takes I saw that I agreed with, because this is kind of what I said last week when I said this was something that could happen, was I think that for Florida State fans, I'm devastated for you. I'm sad for you. I think it's wrong that you got left out.
Uh-huh.
But I think the committee did the right thing.
And why? On what grounds?
On the grounds of the College Football Playoff for New Year's Day. If Florida State played Michigan, at halftime of that game, no one would be watching anymore. Because Michigan would be rolling over Florida State, the Seminoles, unfortunately. I think Florida State had no chance in the College Football Playoff, and that's why they're not getting in, because of the quarterback situation. Had their quarterbacks even played decently, I mean, on Saturday, their quarterback had 55 yards passing, which is obviously abysmal. Had they even played decently, I think they get in. But since they underperformed so much, I think the College Football Playoff said, the committee said, if we put Florida State in, we're losing out on so much money because everyone's going to tune out. They've been trying to avoid blowouts in the College Football Playoff, which has been pretty much happening every single year. And so they said we had to put Alabama in. They're the SEC champion. The SEC has ran, whether you like it or not, I'm a Big Ten guy, the SEC has ran the College Football Playoffs. If you're going to leave out the SEC champion, then they're always going to argue the 4 best teams aren't in. I think on New Year's Day, when Alabama and Michigan play, I mean, this went from being the early game, Michigan-Florida State, that no one was going to watch, to the primetime matchup, Alabama-Michigan. And so when New Year's Day comes and this is a good game, or however this game plays out, no one will be thinking Florida State should be in because everyone knows that they would have gotten ran through.
Listen, if we're picking the best teams for TV, why do we leave out Ohio State and Georgia then?
Because we aren't one of the 4 best teams.
You don't think Ohio State's one of the 4 best teams? You don't think Ohio State's better than Washington?
I think it's up for debate, but I think Washington proved enough to where they're in.
And so did Florida State.
Florida State did not. I mean, Florida State did until we saw them in the past 2 weeks. If anybody thinks that Florida State...
2 weeks ago, Alabama needed a 4th and 31 miracle to beat Auburn, who's not even ranked.
But at the same time,
with their starting quarterback, by the way.
Do you think that Alabama is better or worse than Florida State if they played tomorrow? You think Florida State would win?
I think Alabama will be favored.
You think they would win?
I think I would pick Alabama to win.
Yes, of course you would.
But I would pick Georgia to beat Florida State. I would pick Georgia to beat Washington. I'd probably pick Georgia to beat Texas.
Well, I'll tell you this much, too. Them putting Florida State at 5, they did that to make Florida State feel better. In all reality, the committee would have put Florida State at 8, and they would have said, you guys are done, but they didn't want to drop them after winning the conference championship game, but they should have had them lower the whole time.
That was a nice favor they did for Florida State.
Well, guess what, Florida State? You guys can be up in arms. They're talking about denying the Orange Bowl, whatever. College football will go on without you. If Florida State's team disbanded tomorrow, guess what? The college football would make millions of dollars next year.
I just don't understand
and so it stinks. I feel bad for you, but it is what it is. Your quarterback got hurt. It stinks.
I don't know what to do because college football... it's a great product, but then you get this at the end of every year, and it just flies in the face of what is told every year. The great thing about college football, every game is like a playoff game. No, it's not, because if every game is a playoff game, you go undefeated, then you're the champion. And Florida State doesn't even get a chance to be the champion.
When your quarterback gets hurt, yet again, I am sorry for Florida State fans. If I was a Florida State fan, I would be up in arms. I'd be upset. But unfortunately, it's just how it goes. Your quarterback got hurt. It's the most important position in sports, the quarterback is. And without your starting quarterback, you can't be one of the 4 best teams.
Even though they still kept winning without him in a more impressive fashion than even Alabama 2 weeks ago. That's what's crazy. At least Texas was blowing people out. Yes, Alabama beat Georgia, but 2 weeks ago, you can't forget, you're saying Florida State. They lost their quarterback. They haven't played well the last 2 weeks. They still won. Alabama barely won with their starting quarterback against worse teams. What do you think? 8772 RadioU. Did the committee get it right?
We're not sure who behaves worse, the Riot or their dogs.
I don't even know how to behave like a real human being.
The Riot, RadioU.
Looking at what made money and maybe what didn't in theaters over the weekend. Your number 1 movie, Isaiah, do you know what it is?
I don't know what it is. What is it?
The number 1 movie at the box office over the weekend, Renaissance, a film by Beyonce. It made $21 million.
Very exciting. Seems kind of low for the number 1 movie, but...
especially in December. But if that was like the big new release, though. So it was a tougher, a little more of a sparse week for brand new stuff in theaters. The Hunger Games... Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes.
Holding on strong.
3rd week on the charts. Another 14 million. Not too bad. Number 3, a movie that intrigued us, although, we'll see. I know I didn't see it. Godzilla Minus One made $11 million. That was good enough for number 3. Trolls Band Together hung on to the number 4 slot. Another $7 million. And also $7 million going to Wish, which stuck at number 5. If you saw anything good over the weekend, let us know at 8772 RadioU. Isaiah, what did you watch this weekend?
I watched a couple movies.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember which ones they were. I know for a fact that on Saturday night, I watched Violent Night.
The one with David Hart, like the Santa Claus.
The Santa Claus movie, yes. That came out last year.
Was that the first time for you seeing that?
First time I've seen it.
And what did you think?
It was a bit gory for me.
Oh, yeah? It's a lot to handle.
It was a lot to handle. I do not handle gore well. And it was a little gory for me, but it was a good movie. It was funny, and I liked it. It got me into the Christmas spirit. on Saturday night?
There's all in movies like that for me, even though I can make it through, there's always at least a moment or two that make me kind of, recoil.
I had to cover my eyes many a times.
You're like, am I really sure? I literally still, as an adult, have to tell myself, it's just a movie. It's just a movie.
Yeah, I had to cover my eyes many a times during that movie because I was shocked by the gore.
Yeah.
But it was a good movie, though. As long as you can cover your eyes throughout it, you'll be fine.
Yeah. And that was your big watch over the weekend?
I watched something on Friday night, but I cannot remember what it was.
Thank you for asking, watched Candy Cane Lane, the new Eddie Murphy.
I considered that.
Christmas movie, which is on Prime Video, we talked about on Friday.
It's like we planned it out. I almost watched it, but I did Violent Night instead.
Fortunately, one of us has this covered. I will tell you, it's a very average movie, which at Christmas time, sometimes that means it's a movie you'll come back to. I don't know if Candy Cane Lane is going to make it back like next year when we do the wheel of Christmas movies. Are we going to do Candy Cane Lane with Eddie Murphy? Are we going to even add it to the list? I don't know if we will. I mean, it seems like the actors seem like they were having a fun time, a good cast generally. But I don't know. It was just not very memorable. It wasn't very funny. So I did not leave them with rave reviews. In fact, I said to my wife, because we also watched this was a couple weeks past now, the new Christmas movie on Disney Plus called Dashing Through the Snow with Ludacris. It's called Dashing Through the Snow, not with Ludacris, but he's in it. And that was better, surprisingly, I think. I'd more likely watch that again than Candy Cane Lane.
We also got some text in that said Godzilla -1 was fantastic.
Oh, I bet it was. It probably would have been better choice to watch that than Candy Cane Lane, but then I would have to go out to the theaters and spend money.
My brother and his wife watched The Shift. They said that was very good.
That's the Job one we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
What was the guy's name you said was in it that I would recognize?
Oh my gosh,
Neil something.
McDonough.
Yeah.
He's in Suits.
Oh, okay. Well, I've never watched
That's
that.
how I know him.
Got it.
But yeah, he plays in that one. They said it was really good. You haven't seen it yet.
All right. Well, that I will. I heard some good things about that. I'll add that to the list as well. If you saw anything good, let us know. If you saw anything bad, let us know at 8772 RadioU. That's your box office breakdown.
We're not sure who behaves worse, the Riot or their dogs.
I don't even know how to behave like a real human being.
The Riot, Radio U.
In this day and age, with inflation running rampant, how much should you spend on a date?
It's a good question.
I'm interested to see if the Radio U listeners line up with what the American public now says, because I've got some figures here, some hard numbers about what people think should be spent on the average date. Now, this isn't necessarily, it looks like a first date, but I'll tell you that the average American spends about $189 per date. $189 per date. That equates to, if you average it out, the average American goes on 8 dates a year, at least that's what they say. And so that equates to 189 times 8. Can't be right, can it? $3,025. The average
that
person
math ain't math in there. I mean, I'm not good at math, but 189 times 8. $200 times 8 is how much? That's like $2,000.
Yeah, that'd be $1,600. All right,
yeah,
this doesn't make sense. Okay,
but we can figure it out.
It definitely says here the average person spent $3,025.12 on dates the past year. The average date costs $189. The average person goes on 8 dates. It doesn't add up, does it?
Doesn't, but it's okay.
But again, it's when it's all averages, that doesn't mean that it all equates. However, the average American believes that an average date should cost $196. So we're all about meeting expectations, it seems.
196.
That's a lot.
196.
2 people? When you split that, I don't mean you're splitting the bill, but I mean you're thinking $100 each. If you take a gal out, $100 for her, $100 for you.
I mean, goodness gracious, that's wild.
Hey, inflation's running rampant. What can you say?
What are you doing? Where are you going with this kind of spending?
Well, $200. That's that's probably like 3 drinks each at some places.
Oh my gosh, $200. I mean, $100 each. Yet again, if I'm going somewhere fancy, then I guess that means that I'm just not eating. It's where we're at now.
You can't afford it.
Sounds like we're doing yet again an appetizer that we will share, and we can pick any one that you'd like. Anything you'd like. You get to pick one appetizer, but anything you like, my lady.
Emily says that's too much. She likes cheap dates, like 75 max for both.
Yeah, I'm in that same ballpark.
That is tough, though. $75.
It's like a dinner date.
Yeah, that's like a low-end dinner date.
That's a normal dinner date. If I spend $75 at a dinner, that is my most expensive dinner of the month.
But if it's not just you, though, obviously.
Yeah, but that's $40 a person. What are we
well,
getting?
You think at any actual sit-down restaurant, you're talking the entree is probably $20, right?
Okay, I mean, we're at 40.
So
where's the other 40?
And then then appetizer.
Oh, okay, that's what we're doing.
$10, $12.
Okay, we're at 52.
You got to drink something. You're not
Water.
and then tip. You got to tip nice, tip generously.
$60.
You don't want to be known after the date is over as the guy who didn't tip properly.
I'm saying 75. That's a little bit more, expensive. That's fine.
Then, still though, you do that. That's nowhere near 196, which is the average that people think you should be spending.
I mean, yet again,
But then again, we're talking about only going out to dinner. Forget about any other activities.
Bowling.
What are you going to only go out to dinner on your dates? That's the only thing you're going to do?
For some, you could.
To Applebee's and not somewhere nicer even?
I mean, if this is like this is your wife and this is your guys' once a month date night, then maybe you get it going a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
A little bit more expensive. If this is like your second date, you're out of your mind.
This is the world we live in.
I'm telling you.
I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying this is America in 2023.
I'm just telling you, if you're relying on spending a lot of money to win her over, it's not a good way to do it. You'll never win that way. You got to win her over with your charm. It's the only way.
That's priceless.
The only thing Isaiah loves more than the riot is himself.
Someone who probably still lives with his mother and hates himself.
You're listening to The Riot on RadioU.
We need some opinions on this. Food industry experts are forecasting that we are about to see the demise of the self-checkout. Text in at 8772 RadioU. Are you looking forward to the end of the self-checkout? Or do you wish they would stick around? Because, for example, Phil Lempert, he's a food industry analyst. He literally says, I think we are going to see the demise of self-checkouts very soon. Experts are predicting Walmart, Costco, Walgreens, and more going to be paring down their self-checkout offerings. Your first thoughts?
Well, what are we replacing them with? What are we doing instead?
I guess it's going to have to be people, right? What other alternatives are there?
So I'm thinking it's either automation or a person.
Yeah.
So are we going back to people working it?
I think it's going to have to be. I don't see another way around it. Now, would you like to take a little stab at a guess at why these retailers are expected to get rid of their self-checkouts?
Maybe too much stealing.
Wow, you nailed it.
I mean, it's the only downside to it, I think, is probably too much stealing.
You don't think the downside of a lot of customers don't like it and haven't liked it for a long time?
But I think for them, I don't think they care about that.
Oh, yeah.
Because you think about for them, it's they think that it's worth having the self-checkouts versus stealing rather than having more employees. Obviously making money there, not having the employees to work so they can just go. But they must be losing so much money because of the theft that they would rather pay someone.
You think about that? Because I thought myself, I was like, really? You think people are stealing that much? But if they're thinking about changing it, that's all they care about is money.
It has to be.
And they're saving money by not having people there. And they spent a lot of money putting these things in. So we must really be stealing a lot for Walmart to be like, I think we're gonna get rid of the self-checkouts. The Walmart down the road, it has about 80 self-checkouts. I don't know if they even have a spot for a person. And they're thinking, I don't know if we need these anymore. People walking out. It's costing us a lot of money.
I'm for it. I miss when there was all the lanes of people and you could choose which one you went to. And the line. I like self-checkout in the way that if you have like 3 items, I think what they should do is they should just make self-checkout. If they want to keep it, they can keep it, but it has to be like 5 items or less to where the worker there can clearly see what you have. If you have a bunch of stuff, like people come in there with a full cart of stuff, they could steal half the cart.
They could, even though it's on camera. And I've seen
the audacity of some of these thieves.
Yeah. Well, I've seen also like lawyers are saying you should never, if you are a fine, upstanding citizen, you shouldn't use self-checkouts because you're bound, or you are not bound. That's crazy. We've all used self-checkouts. We haven't been accused of stealing.
You could be accused of stealing.
But you are setting yourself up. If you ever are accused, it's going to be hard to defend yourself, apparently. So I get it. And I was thinking, too, like, I guess I prefer the self-checkout generally. I prefer not having to interact. But
I like the interaction.
Have I ever avoided, even as somebody who doesn't particularly enjoy seeing a cashier, have I ever avoided going somewhere because it's like, no, they have real people, or chosen another place? They have self-checkouts. I think I'll go there. Then I won't have to talk to somebody. No. Aldi, they don't have self-checkouts. They're just fine. That's not any part of the experience. I never question. I'm never like, man, this would be much better if they had self-checkouts.
And it's more jobs.
More jobs, yeah.
I'm never against more jobs.
If they can actually fill them.
Oh, they can fill them. Would you rather, a lot of like high school kids, would you rather work at Kroger or work at Burger King? Some would say Burger King, some would say Kroger.
Yeah.
I'd rather work Kroger.
At least they have a choice.
Exactly.
The more options, the better. 8772 RadioU, what do you think? If self-checkouts go by the wayside, is that a positive thing? Let us know what you think.
Add a little riot to your Instagram feed. Follow @RadioU Official. The Riot. Radio U.
I guess I just learned something that I should have known as a radio broadcaster, and that is never say anything definitive. Because I said Aldi doesn't have self-checkouts, and here comes all the people letting me know that their Aldi has self-checkouts. Well, mine doesn't. What does that tell you about?
Have you been to Aldi in a while? Maybe yours does.
It does not.
You sure?
But I will. I'll give some credence to what Chad says. He says the Aldi near me just put in self-checkouts because they never had more than 2 people running checkouts. They'd always have to call for others who are stocking to help with the long lines. So it certainly helps eliminate the delays. And that is true. My Aldi, it's not my chosen, like I don't go to Aldi over Kroger, but I go to Aldi enough to know they don't have self-checkout near me, but it is routinely. I don't know if I've ever seen more than one person running a checkout at the Aldi, but maybe I just go at good times because it's never like people aren't getting upset because they're waiting. But I don't know. I don't know if people are upset about the self-checkouts going, or if they just are, if we're just in disbelief because so many other places, like Janae texted in, her Walmart just upgraded all their self-checkouts, put in even more. And all these Aldis that have newly put in self-checkouts. Granted, Aldi wasn't named in this news report that we read.
Yeah, I would say maybe it's going to be a slow transition probably.
Yeah, because they do point out here too that in the same story, Walmart was supposed to be like their target for peak automation was 2025. So they may have been headed towards that. And then they're like, well, maybe not actually.
Maybe this is a bad idea.
We made that plan at that time, but things have changed.
The wild thing to me is the stealing.
Yeah.
See, because realistically, it is a choice. It's a choice when you hit the self-checkout because everybody has stood there and been like, could I steal this? You could. Everyone knows you could steal it. But the morality of it, obviously you choose not to. I think it's just bad karma. Automatic bad karma.
Yeah.
I can't believe that they're having so many issues. That means that so many people are stealing. By record numbers.
Yeah, it is unbelievable that again, that we mapped it out. There's definitely have to be saving money by having self-checkouts versus having all the manned employees doing the different, and they're still like, no, we aren't saving enough money because we're getting so much stolen.
Yeah, I'm not going to sit on the radio and tell you not to steal.
You shouldn't have to.
It's bad karma.
Have to.
It is bad karma.
And now,
I believe in karma.
And now look what's happening. We've stolen so much, and then Thomas is right. Thomas says with self-checkouts going away, the line waits will get increasingly longer, and it's going to be harder to steal. Double whammy.
So everybody
Look
who
what you've
was
done to
stealing,
yourself.
everyone
Yeah.
who was stealing, now you're going to have to wait in this long line. Even when you have one thing.
And you're going to have to pay.
When you have one thing.
And you're going to have to pay.
When you have one or two things, you're like, man, I would love to just hit a self-checkout and just get out of here because I'm running behind. Nope. You can't. You got to wait in the line with all the other people who are searching for their family of 5 for meals for the week, and they've got a full cart stacked to the top, and you no longer can use the self-checkout because you've lost that privilege because you couldn't be responsible with the self-checkout.
Yeah. Shame on us. Shame on us all.
We're not sure who behaves worse, the riot or their dogs.
I don't even know how to behave like a real human being.
The Riot, Radio U.
I think I'm starting to learn. You name like a cultural thing that's going on, and somehow it's exposed somebody as a cheater. I harken back to like the EAS test every time there's like a national emergency test. Somebody's secret phone gets discovered, that kind of thing. But this one's even more
Ridiculous?
ridiculous. Yes, because I have a gal here who claims she caught her boyfriend cheating thanks to his Spotify Wrapped.
Maniacal.
Diabolical. Apparently, the story goes that this gal, one of the first times she was like making out with the guy she was going out with, he put on some like making out music. And she's like, she said at the time, she's like, well, this is really weird. This is like, why are you doing this?
But this is like his like song.
This is like his thing. Yeah, it's his specific song. And he's like, he literally
wouldn't
said,
use it any other time.
It's miraculous that the relationship went past this point because she says that he said when she called him out on putting on this making out R&B music, he's like, oh, sorry, my ex liked that. At what point in the how long you guys been going out where he's allowed to just throw, sorry, my ex liked it. I thought you might like it. That's a red flag right there.
Right
is
off
it
the
not?
rip, yeah.
And so fast forward to now, his Spotify Wrapped comes out, and what do you think was the #1 song on the Spotify Wrapped?
No. What was he thinking?
What was he thinking? She says she knows that he only would listen to music when he was at the gym, pretty much.
And he's not
this
listening
is not
to
a
that.
gym song.
No, he's not.
And so either one, he was either really thinking about his ex a lot, or two, him and his ex were making out a lot with this as the soundtrack. Nevertheless, she called him out on it, and it's over. She said they had already put down a deposit on a wedding venue.
No, what?
Yeah.
What are we talking about here?
Although she doesn't specifically refer to him as her fiance, but it sounds like things are heading in that direction. Not anymore. Not anymore, they're not.
That's wild. When you think about, too, how often was he playing that song?
Seriously.
Or that artist? I mean, I guess it's the artist. I guess it could have been his top song.
Yeah.
Because they show you that, too. That's his top song? That's your top song. Come on.
That's kind of wild to just have like your making out song too.
Can you imagine just listening to the same one every time?
No, I can't.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like
That's insane.
That's corny, right?
Yeah,
That's
it is
gotta
really
be corny.
corny.
Like, especially if the girl's not that into it.
Yeah.
And then you're like, you put on this song. Alexa, play the song. And then that's supposed to just woo her.
Yeah. Hold on. We can't kiss until this. Alexa,
set the mood. Bow, 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 bow. Immediately, that has to be
yeah.
the worst thing ever.
I know it's difficult probably for this gal in the moment, but she dodged a bullet with this guy. Just wish she didn't put down the deposit on the wedding venue.
The corny, I mean, just the corniness of having like this. Oh, I bet he told his friends, this is my makeout song, actually. This is the one. That's it for the ladies. Nope. Not for me.
We're not sure who behaves worse, the Riot or their dogs.
I don't even know how to behave like a real human being.
The Riot, RadioU.
Houston's about to be home to the world's first waterless water park. You can check it out at the Katy Mills Mall. They call it Slick City. Oh, it's like Slick City in here. It is home to 11 different slides, 55,000 square feet. They also have aerial attractions like zip lining and swings, soccer, basketball, dodgeball courts, and oh yeah, it's a waterless water park.
Does it seem like this is a water park? Can you really call it that?
It's got a lot of the things that a water park has, except the water. It really does. Like, you think about a water park, a lot of water parks have basketball in the water, basketball courts in the water. They have slides, which this has. I don't know. I'd say it's
like, when
it's
I
close.
look at this,
It's close.
I think that this looks like a slide park.
But there's never been one like this before.
I get that. I mean, yeah, it's epic. It looks like fun.
It
This
does look
looks
like fun.
a place that you would host a birthday party.
Yeah.
But if I said waterless water park,
Well, what are you picturing?
I'm thinking a little bigger.
It's not big enough for you.
It's not big enough. No, the slides are not like. Have you been to the water park around here?
Yeah.
Yeah, those slides are legit. They got good slides.
Like the one where it's like a toilet?
The one that's right next to you, yeah.
No, yeah, I mean like the slide that's like a toilet.
Yeah, it's like a toilet.
Yeah.
Yes. Legit. I mean, those are a little scary when you go down them.
I don't see that at this place.
This is, I mean, it's indoors, so obviously the ceiling can only be so high,
Mhm.
but it's still good slide. Like, this would be a fun birthday party.
You can only slide so extremely when there's no water to save you at the end or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I do see they have a classic water park staple of the slide that you go down and then it's a ramp and so it launches you.
Yes.
But it can't launch you too far because you're just landing in a pile of padding. You're not landing in water.
But yet again,
And
like
even those water slides are dangerous. So forget about trying to do it inside.
it still hurts when you hit the water.
Yeah.
So I would say this looks like a cool place to have a birthday party. When I say waterless water park, maybe that isn't the best advertisement for what you're thinking. I would say slide park. But it still looks like fun.
Well, waterless water park also still makes me think, oh, I'm going to beat the heat here.
Yeah.
Like this is on a good summer's day, but this doesn't really feel like that when you see the video of it.
Like most water parks, like there's just a little bit of water on them slides. Like there's just enough.
Yeah.
And
why
on these, yeah.
Why not? Well, I guess it's a lot cheaper probably to have a waterless water park. That's a lot. That's expensive to maintain all that
water.
chlorine and yeah.
Keep that clean.
Think about the money they're saving.
But yet again, Slick City looks like fun.
Would you go if it was around here?
No, but I'm too old.
It says it's for all ages.
It's not.
It's for all ages.
It's not.
for from those learning to walk all the way up to the most seasoned adults.
Let me tell you, if I see you in there doing these things, as like if there's like 6 adults in there, it's just no. You can't be doing that. You're gonna be like knocking my kids over. If I had children, I would take them here for a birthday party. I would consider. I'd say, you want to go to Slick City? If I was with a group of friends and I was like, hey, what do we want to do this Saturday night? I wouldn't say, what about Slick City? But it does look like fun.
Justin says, isn't it just a playground?
Yes.
Pretty much.
The only thing Isaiah loves more than the Riot is himself.
Someone who probably still lives with his mother and hates himself.
You're listening to The Riot on RadioU.
Hudson, I've got an issue.
An issue?
Yeah, an issue.
Just one.
You could be a part of it. You could be part of the problem.
I could be a part of the solution.
You could be a part of the solution. On Friday, I was driving, and you have a Jeep.
I do have a Jeep.
One thing we've never talked about on the show is you have a Jeep, and one of the main things that goes with having a Jeep is the whole duck thing.
Yeah, Jeep ducking.
Which I don't have a Jeep.
No.
Nor have I ever. And I've never given someone a little duck. But I saw a Jeep the other day with like a million, seemed like, ducks across the windshield.
Yeah, you never seen that before?
I've seen it before, but then it got my brain thinking. As I saw it, I was like, I looked at it and I go, that's kind of dumb.
You don't like Jeep ducking.
It's not that I don't like it. I just don't get it. I don't understand it.
So to explain, this is something that goes back, I think it was something that started around COVID, where supposedly, like, if you're a Jeep owner and you see another Jeep around parked, you leave a little rubber, you have a collection of rubber ducks, you leave one on like the side mirror for them to find when the Jeep owner returns. And it's like, hey, we're fellow Jeep owners kind of thing. And then some Jeep owners then, I guess, will put their collection of rubber ducks that they've received over time, and they'll line it up across their dashboard for all to see. I've never done that. I'm sorry to say, I've never received a Jeep duck.
You've never even gotten one?
No, I haven't.
Is your Jeep not Jeep enough?
I think that could be. I feel like my Jeep isn't Jeep enough because it's not, like, that's more of like a Wrangler thing.
Well, they have their own little
Like, my Jeep is just an
thing.
SUV. Yeah. I'm curious. Nikki, also well known for being a Jeep owner. I don't know if she's ever been Jeep ducked. It doesn't seem like a thing she would, or does it seem like exactly the thing she would have?
No, because she wouldn't approach someone's car.
No, she wouldn't hand them out.
No chance.
But she might, if she received them, display them. Could you see that?
I could maybe see them having it on there. We'll have to ask her because I think it's wild.
But you think Jeep ducking is dumb?
I think the whole thing is silly.
What part of it is dumb to you?
It just seems almost like it just seems like they think they're better than every other car.
Because
like,
they have rubber ducks? They have rubber ducks?
Not only do they have rubber ducks, but they also have a Jeep Wave, right? There's a Jeep Wave, which I don't know what the Wave is. I just know that's a thing.
Yeah, I think you just wave.
You just wave when you see a Jeep. So what's the whole Jeep thing?
Which you're just constantly waving, pretty much. That's what
it's
I
not
do.
It's not like it's a Lamborghini. Like, you see them pretty regularly. Anytime you drive, you see a Jeep. And so I just don't get, like, if you're a Jeep owner, I'm not trying to offend you.
Yeah.
But also, what's the big deal?
No, you know how you could offend me.
How?
And again, I want to point out, I've never received a Jeep duck. I don't hand them out.
You seem a little upset about that.
But I am a Jeep owner. And what offends me is when I see other SUVs that are not Jeeps with ducks.
Oh, that's just a poser.
As a white man, I haven't experienced much like inequality or whatever. Like some things insensitivity, I guess I could say. It's hard for me to put myself in other people's shoes of like what's offensive. So if you need to explain something to me, just be like, this is like if you saw a non-Jeep SUV with ducks in it. That will get through to me.
That's offensive.
Yes, I do. I find that very offensive.
Because who do you think you are?
That's our thing. And we can participate in it or not.
Look at you with your we. You've never even received a duck.
But I'm a Jeep owner, so I'm a part of the community.
The community.
Yeah.
This is exactly what I'm talking about. Who are you
our
guys?
Thing. It sounds like you're a little jealous.
I'm not jealous.
There's no, what truck do you have?
I have a GMC.
There's no GMC thing.
There shouldn't be a thing.
Sorry to say it.
My truck isn't special. The Jeep is not a special car.
It is special.
It's not special. You guys can try to pretend it's special. Oh, my Jeep Wave.
It's our thing.
You guys have a little thing. You guys have your little thing. That makes you feel special.
Yeah.
Makes you feel special.
You all leave it alone.
I think the duck thing's cute. I think it's something
criticize it.
If you were in high school and you wanted to have your little Jeep thing with your friends, you'd have little ducks. I think it's weird. I'm sorry, and I'm not trying to offend Jeep owners. Just seems a little uppity.
If you have to say you're not trying to offend.
I love you guys. I love the
offensive.
Jeep owners, but I'm just saying it's a little uppity.
Disinformation, mispronunciations, bad impressions. That's Hudson. This is The Riot on Radio U.
Now, Isaiah, why don't you go ahead and open up the Riot hotline? My question for everyone is, what is something that you are going to continue to do? You've made your peace with it. You're just going to continue to do it, even though you've seen over and over again why you shouldn't. Here's my example. Some people might say like smoking or something. But here's my example. I, on just about a weekly basis, I believe, see some story or some TikTok telling me why I shouldn't order coffee when I'm on an airplane. And I'm going to keep on ordering coffee. You want to know why I'm not supposed to order coffee? Would you like to hear the horror of airplane coffee?
I feel like I know.
What
I feel
is
like
it?
we all know.
What is it?
You're going to have to go to the bathroom.
Oh, no. No, come on.
I feel like that would be the answer.
I mean, I guess it's related, but no. I mean, all drinks make you go to the bathroom eventually, right?
I feel like coffee does more to you.
The reason it's a sanitary thing.
Oh, really?
That flight attendants, they love posting this on TikTok. Here's why I, as a flight attendant, would never drink airline coffee, is because the tanks of the coffee makers rarely get cleaned. So, that's not exactly positive. And then when they dump out the tanks or dump out the coffee that's left over, they have to dump it into the airplane toilet, supposedly. And so, like this guy says, there has to be some kind of backsplash of particles and bacteria when you do that, right? And you can tell me all this, and I guess maybe part of it is that's just not enough to me to change my ways. But also, I've heard this so many times, and I'm just going to keep ordering coffee on airplanes. As long as it's the only free option, and as long as I keep on liking coffee, I'm going to keep doing this. So what is it for you?
I've got many of things that I shouldn't be doing that I'm doing anyway.
You've heard the arguments over and over, and you just won't give it up?
They're pretty obvious to me. The first one that comes to mind, which you did last night.
What's that?
This might be something that maybe you struggle with. Let me flip the table here.
Okay.
Let me turn the table.
How the turntables
Let
have
me
turned.
tell you what you're doing wrong with your life. Staying up too late. I do it like every night.
Yeah.
I tell myself, I know that I should go to bed at a certain hour.
Mm-hmm.
And I always stay up. And you know what happens when I stay up? Between the hour of 10 and 11 o'clock when I should be asleep.
Yeah.
What do I get done? Nothing.
Well,
I scroll TikTok.
Yeah.
I watch TV. And I wake up the next day and I wonder in the morning, was that worth it? Never is. Never is.
Oh, for me, it's worth it last night, I'll tell you that.
Well, the Packers got the one. That's a good
right.
one. That's a
right.
good reason.
Yeah.
You woke up this morning and you know what? Justified. Me last night? Nope. For my 364th day in a row staying up too late, stealing happiness from the next day was not worth it.
8772 Radio U. Text in something that you continue on doing even though you've been told a million times. You shouldn't and you don't care. 8772 Radio U. We'll see what people are saying next.
The only thing Isaiah loves more than the riot is himself.
Someone who probably still lives with his mother and hates himself.
You're listening to The Riot on Radio U.
Reasons why I'm not supposed to drink coffee on an airplane, and I'm just going to keep on doing it. Isaiah said staying up too late. Dee texted in. She says eating cookie dough.
But it tastes so good.
Yeah, you expect me to stop doing that? It's hasn't hurt me so far that I know of. Philip says drinking soda.
It's a bad one.
Yeah, not good for if nothing else, your teeth. Not meant.
But everybody does it. Not everybody, but a lot of people do it.
A lot of people do it.
It's a tough one to quit.
Yeah, and if that's the worst thing.
Yeah, that's your number one thing.
Yeah, then you're doing
That's your thing, you know?
Susanna, this is going to hit close to home for you. Susanna says using Q-tips in my ears.
But it feels so good. That one hurts my heart.
Yeah.
I agree.
Sometimes
Will I
Isaiah
stop? I won't.
Is over there and I see him because
I use him at work.
Yeah, he does it right in front of me, and you hit that spot and his leg starts going like a dog getting scratched.
I'll
It's
never
weird.
stop. I don't care.
It's uncomfortable.
I will never stop.
No good. Kirk also agrees with Philip drinking soda. And let's see. What else did you have?
I've got a couple. Kevin just texted in. Apparently, Kevin pees in the sink.
Come on.
Why?
It's closer, maybe.
To what?
Where he is.
In his house?
Than the toilet.
It makes
I
no
don't know.
sense.
We've all been there.
We've not been there. I've
Yeah.
never been there.
We've all been there.
Kevin, I'm sorry, but no. No.
Emily says that she is not hydrated, so she's going to continue on choosing coffee over water, even though she knows she'd be better off if she was a little more hydrated, a little less caffeinated.
How about this one?
Okay.
Speeding for no reason. Someone's doing it right now listening. You're not even late for work. Why are you going 5 over?
Wow.
That just hit somebody in the heart that's driving right now. I do that all the time. I'll admit it.
But is it really that much safer to drive 35 versus 40?
But listen, why? Why? You're saving like 30 seconds. Especially when you're not running behind anything. My roommate did this to me last night. We were going to Insomnia Cookies, like I talked about earlier, and I was getting frustrated on the roadways because there's a lot of traffic.
Yeah.
And I was like trying to like weave in. I was being kind of bad. And he's like, we're not even running behind. Like, we're just doing this for fun. We have nothing to do tonight. Why are you speeding? I was like, you're right.
I don't know. It must be our culture, I would say.
Quit it. How about this one? Eating out instead of cooking at home.
Yeah, I know we should do that.
We should cook at home. Save some money. I can't quit it, though.
And it's, you know, some of the argument might be, well, it's more expensive, but it tastes better. You think if you put in the effort, wouldn't your cooking taste better than McDonald's?
If you really tried, you know?
If you worked on it.
It's so greasy.
Burger
Your stomach would feel better, too.
Yeah, probably be healthier.
Probably would lose weight.
Better
even.
shape, yeah.
Yeah. Will we start doing it? No. Wendy's last night. And then I had Insomnia Cookies. What am I doing wrong?
What are you doing? And you'd have more money.
I spent $7 on a cookie with ice cream on top of it. What am I doing?
It's a good deal.
I could get a whole quart.
I'd be happy with just one of those for $7.
For like $3.
Something that you do, even though you've seen reasons over and over again why you shouldn't. 8772 RadioU.
Find more Riot content online. Riot.radiou.com.